National Capital Delhi and the National Capital Region NCR is once again engulfed in a thick blanket of toxic smog, with air quality plunging deeper into the dangerous severe plus zone across multiple locations. Pollution levels have spiked sharply, making the air unsafe to breathe and forcing authorities to step up emergency measures. Several parts of the national capital are now recording maximum AQI levels as of 8 p.m. on the 14th of December. Rohini, Ashok Vihar, RK Puram and Wazirpur touched an AQI of 500, the highest on the index. Anand Vihar stood at 492, ITO at 487, Patparganj at 481, Narela at 480, Burari at 468, while Chandni Chowk recorded 449. The situation remains equally grim across the National Capital Region, or NCR. In Noida, Sector 125 recorded an AQI of 453, while Sector 62 stood at 426. In Greater Noida, Knowledge Park 3 logged an AQI of 416, underlining how widespread the pollution crisis has become. Officials attribute the sharp deterioration in air quality to slow wind speeds, stagnant atmospheric conditions, unfavorable weather and poor dispersal of pollutants, allowing toxic particles to remain trapped over the region. The dense mix of smog and fog has also reduced visibility to dangerously low levels, severely affecting traffic movement. Several areas have reported accidents, vehicle collisions, and long traffic snarls on highways and arterial roads. With pollution continuing to worsen, the Commission for Air Quality Management, or CAQM, has stepped in, placing Delhi and the National Capital Region under GRAP Stage IV, or the Graded Response Action Plan Stage IV, the strictest set of anti-pollution measures, falling under the severe plus category. These curbs are in addition to restrictions already in force under GRAP Stages 1, 2 and 3. Following the implementation of GRAP 4, the Delhi government's Directorate of Education has directed schools to conduct classes up to 9 and 11 in hybrid mode. Pollution control boards and enforcement agencies have also been asked to tighten enforcement further to prevent the situation from deteriorating. The health impact, however, remains a major concern. On the 13th of December, CAQM, or the Centre for Air Quality Management, wrote to the Delhi government and NCR state governments, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, reiterating compliance with Supreme Court directions and its earlier advisory issued on the 19th of November. With GRAP Stage 4 in force, CAQM has warned against the continuation of outdoor physical and sports activities, saying that exposure to such toxic air poses serious health risks to children. Authorities have directed schools, educational institutions, sports bodies and local authorities to issue clear instructions, sensitize parents and strictly monitor implementation. Health experts have warned that prolonged exposure to this level of pollution can trigger severe respiratory and cardiovascular problems, especially among children, the elderly and those with existing health conditions. Residents have been urged to limit outdoor activities, follow advisories strictly and take precautions as Delhi and the NCR struggle through yet another intense spell of toxic smog.
हम सबको पता है कि पॉल्यूशन की क्वालिटी खराब होती जा रही है, एयर क्वालिटी खराब होती जा रही है और दिल्ली नहीं बाकी आसपास के शहरों की एयर क्वालिटी भी बहुत खराब होती जा रही है। अब इसके कारण तो बहुत सारे हैं, चाहे व्हीकल्स कहें, चाहे कंस्ट्रक्शन कहें, चाहे वेदर कहें, बट ये है कि ये एक ऐसी सिचुएशन है जिसमें हमको इमीडिएटली स्टेप्स लेने चाहिए ताकि हम इसको कंट्रोल कर सकें। अगर हम अपनी ओपीडी की बात करें तो ऑब्वियसली ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा है कि जो हमारे नंबर ऑफ पेशेंट्स है वो बढ़ गए हैं। ऐसे पेशेंट्स आ रहे हैं जिनको पहले कोई भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होती थी, बट अब उनको खांसी हो रही है, गले में दर्द हो रहा है, जुकाम हो रहा है। ऐसे भी पेशेंट्स आ रहे हैं जिनको पहले अस्थमा था या सीओपीडी था, पर अब उनको उसका अटैक पड़ रहा है और हमको उसके लिए उनको इनहेलर, नेबुलाइजर देने पड़ रहे हैं या फिर ओरल स्टेरॉइड भी देने पड़ रहे हैं ताकि उनकी प्रॉब्लम कंट्रोल हो सके।
GRAP 4, we know and GRAP itself is a reactive measure. So we are obviously coming to a situation, such a terrible situation, and the numbers that now GRAP 4 is invoked, rightly so. But there's a larger picture to it. It's what we've done throughout the year or years or many years ago, the decisions that were taken by the policymakers, that we are in this situation. These are not overnight things. We know that there are vehicular emissions, there's construction. Now, even if right now for GRAP, all the construction will stop and taking it in the, perfect mode that everything has stopped, so how many days will you do that? We'll see the 2-3 days and the numbers will come back, then it'll be revoked.
In fact, now we have Bhavreen Kandari, environmental activist, joining us live here on the show. Dr. Gufran Beg, Chair Professor and Founder and Project Director, SAFAR, System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research. With us, we have Naivan Sharma, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party, and Dr. Anil Gupta, spokesperson of the BJP. With us, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us over here. Dr. Anil Gupta, the eyes are squarely on the Delhi government. The CAQM has written to the Delhi government asking for the directives of the Supreme Court to be implemented, and you have now the GRAP Stage IV finally being implemented.
Yeah, good evening to you and all the viewers. The air quality is not good. It is in the severe condition. It is a fact. And today we have an average of 431. And the Commission for Air Quality Management has imposed GRAP 4. And it is a measure which Delhi government will definitely implement already. Since the inception of the Delhi government under Rekha Gupta as CM, the government has taken several measures, but the condition arise because there is no wind speed today. And it happens every year. There is no wind speed, the temperature is down, so much particulate matter is suspended, and there is a rise in the particulate matter 2.5 and the nanoparticles. And that's why whatever the instructions of the CAQM yesterday evening they have announced, it will be implemented, and we hope to improve the situation in next few days. And CAQM is a quasi-judicial authority. Whatever decision they take, the government will obey that. And definitely, since February to August, the situation was quite better. But during the winter season, it happens and the situation is not good, which we should admit.
Okay.
And government is taking all measures for dust mitigations. And whatever are the measures under GRAP 4, it will be implemented with strictness.
Kandari, fair enough. Bhavreen Kandari, the government has done the maximum possible, the biggest emergency measure, which is GRAP Stage IV. What else could be done at this stage? Because this is not about what is to be done last week or the last month. It is to be what could have been done over the last 10 years.
Absolutely, Krishna. So I'm sorry, I cannot say that they've done what they've done, whether them or the previous, government. You see, pollution control can't be just a series of emergency reactions like this. It must be like a predictable, transparent public health strategy, that protects the citizens, every child, and even the ones from marginalized working class backgrounds, shutting down schools and all. These are, of course, seems at the face of it that you're taking action, but these are not the reaction. These are very reactive measures. And until the authorities begin cutting emissions at source, enforcing all the pollution norms consistently and with clear intent, nothing is going to change.
Okay.
So far, we are seeing only...
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. But if I were to ask you at this stage, there needs to be emergency measures, effective emergency measures taken. While we sit and talk about what could be done from here on, it is important the right emergency measures are taken, isn't it, Bhavreen Kandari?
Yes, of course, when you, shut down construction totally, because now otherwise in the name of essential, etc., all the metros and the government projects were going on before in the GRAP 3. So that is obviously additionally vehicular. But if you go on the streets today, is Sunday, there's jams, traffic jams everywhere because everything is in a mess. The governance is failed. You have two lanes of parking all throughout Delhi. You have a regular wedding features happening, events going on. So how do you think things are going to change? There's lot to be done. I mean, just putting everything on the paper and making headlines is not going to change. There's a huge amount of flaws that need to be fixed. I have somebody who's been calling us, from a road in Mayapuri which has the banquet hall. They say every day they are caught at 2 hours in a jam there because people are dancing in the middle of the roads and the police doesn't do nothing. So this is where you need people, the pollution board, everyone to come in. But then who will come? Who will come on the road? The app is not going to, green app will not come running
Okay,
on the
okay,
road. You
okay,
need people, boots on the ground.
okay.
You don't have enough people to come and actually implement and enforce laws.
Yeah.
So there's a huge flaw
Okay.
in everything that we are saying and doing.
Because there's systemically, a lacuna when it comes to
Absolutely.
implementing the laws, Dr. Gufran Beg, but, systemically, are we doing the best we can, given the fact that we are in the middle of an emergency?
See, as we already mentioned that this short-term measures is not going to yield anything unless weather God comes in the help. It has to be long-term strategy all the time. I will explain you in a very simplified manner. What is happening at this stage of time, that there is no wind, there is no ventilation. Neither vertical winds is stopped, diffusion at 500 meters. And then, so it is typically what today you are seeing is all due to the Delhi's emission. So it is a Delhi's deed. Weather is not participating. Let us say that weather is not participating at this stage of time. So internally, nothing is going out. Outside, nothing is coming up. Now, what is one misplaced priority which has happened? Dust mitigation, everybody is talking about. But time and again, I have been telling two things. Firstly, dust is not a major source of PM 2.5, which we have to worry about. It is a major source of PM 10. Dust in PM 2.5 contributing to 8% only as per our latest 2025 emission inventory. As on today, the transport is a 43%, which normally 18 to 25% focus, it is coming out from other, but today everything is basically confined to NCT, where this is there. One source which we cannot stop, in fact it is keep on increasing, which is the biofuel emission. And contribution of the biofuel emission in the sense from the slums and others, they are coming around 13%, which increases during this time to 15-16%. So let's say that, let's forget about that particular thing, because it's the essential thing in the slums and other places. But unless traffic this time, which becomes a major source, in fact half of the emissions comes from there only, and then as per this 2025 emission latest as on today, the percentage is like this. Waste burning is about 15%, construction is just 2.3%. Why? Because if construction is there, then since there is no wind, it will be a hot spot where it is emitting, but it is not going to contribute or getting transported anywhere, because winds no in, no out. So it is 2-3%. So if we are handling only dust, then we are at a misplaced priority. Brick clean is about 4%. So the major source as on today is 43% is the transport. Industry, small scale, is about 13%. Biofuel is about 13%, and waste burning is about 15%. Rest of them are little small and small.
Right.
Now tell me that unless we handle the transport sector, can we have any relief on that? And the transport sector is becoming in fact worse because of the visibility, because of the traffic jams and all. So only now from today onwards, in fact now around 5 p.m. onwards, the winds have started from 2 meters per second to about 4, 5, 6. But since it is a 24-hour AQI, the impact will come tomorrow. So by tomorrow afternoon, air quality is going to from severe to severe plus to very poor, and day after tomorrow maybe lower end of very poor, which is not a news to be celebrated. But anyway, we are coming out from the emergency. So this is all which is going to happen because winds are picking up. Temperature is not very cool.
Right.
Peak arrived. So I'm done with that. Yeah.
All right, Naivan Sharma, let me bring you in at this stage. The situation we're facing right now today is not new. We've faced it over the last, many decades now. And the fact is that the system intrinsically has not been fixed all these years.
And surprisingly, we have so many people who can tell us that what is the problem, why there is so much pollution, what are the sources of this pollution. We have so many environmentalists and we have so many experts that could clearly tell you in points that this is the problem and we can solve it like this. The real problem is that if you want to solve a problem, you need to know that what is the problem and you need to admit it. And how would you admit it? You would admit it if you have data. And how would you have data? You have AQI meters who can tell you the data. You have different sources, different government sources that can tell you the data that this is the situation, it's very severe or it's poor or it's very poor. The real problem is that we have a government that's fudging with the data. That's doing
Data has
that's
been bad for many decades. When has AQI been good in these months or these weeks? Imagine 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. When was it good? When
I
was it
can
fine?
I can show you the data, and we have a list of it because I was one of the members in a committee that was formed to control this in Delhi when we were in power. We had made green war rooms. I can give you a list of data,
Okay.
day wise, month wise, year wise. But the thing that I'm trying to say is that we used to get real data that where we stand today. But today we have a government in Delhi that denies data, that tries to manipulate it. And I'm very sorry to say that top of the government, the top minister in the government right now does not understand what is AQI. She compares AQI with temperature. She says AQI, IQ, she's confused. I'm very embarrassed. I'm very sorry to say this on national TV, but she does not understand. We need to have people who understand what is the problem. Unless we understand it, we are not going to solve it. And what they
Gupta,
have been
does the
doing,
Delhi
they
government
had a
understand the
plan.
problem?
They had a plan that once you have this pollution problem, they are going to fudge, manipulate data, and they are going to say that we have reduced it. But they miserably failed because we exposed them brutally.
Okay, we
How
heard
they
you.
were spraying water in front of AQI meters.
Okay.
The entire nation has seen that.
Okay,
And how you are going to solve it when you are going to manipulate it at this level?
Dr. Anil
You're playing
Gupta,
with lives of children. I'm sitting in South Delhi, and condition here is if I see my AQI meter, it's showing 700 plus. If I
okay,
see government app, it's saying 430. Whom should I believe? How are we going
okay,
to solve it
Dr.
when
Anil
we have
Gupta.
such incompetent people sitting in power?
Okay, Naiman, we heard you. Dr. Anil Gupta.
I think whatever we have today, we got in legacy. And whatever monitoring station today we have in Delhi, they are also from the legacy. They are questioning the scientists of the pollution board. They are questioning the professor of the IITs. At least have trust on them. Know where the data fudging can be done. They are just making the false allegations. I mean, these monitoring stations were there when they were ruling the government. These were there 20 years back also. And at least have a trust. Every day at 4 p.m., CPCB release the data of all over the country. Same data is released for the Goa, same is there for other cities. What they have not done anything during their tenure. For last 27 years, we were out of power. This year, we start working on the dust mitigation, on the transportation, correcting the potholes and everything. We have a good weather,
Okay.
good air quality from February to September. But the situation deteriorated from October, November, and December. Maybe because of the weather condition and because of the inheritance we got. And they should have answered what they have done for last 27 years. They cannot say even a single point, but they just start blaming the scientists.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Fair enough. We heard you. Naiman Sharma, the fact of the matter is that the CAQM, Center for Air Quality Management, is written to Delhi and all the NCR states, including Haryana and UP, in terms of whether they are implementing Supreme Court directives or not.
What I'm saying is, what legacy is he talking about? We were in Delhi since last 10 years. Who is in power in Haryana, as you rightly said? Who is in power in UP? And who is in power in central government? There is an international journal called Lancet that's saying that 17 lakh people are dying every year because of air pollution in India. Can you deny this? And if you cannot deny this, then start writing on death certificate that why the person has died because of a lung
It is a false report.
who he did not have 5 years ago. You write on the death certificate that this person is dying because of air pollution. Then only this government will awake. Then only this government is going to realize that how serious is this problem. They are making a mockery of this country. This is what they have been doing at the time of COVID. They used to deny how many people are dying because of lack of oxygen.
Okay.
How many people are dying because of lack of government
Well, let us stick
facilities.
to the issue, Naivan, over here. Dr. Anil Gupta, you wanted to come in.
We ask him who is in power in UP since last 10 years, who is in power in Haryana since last 15 years, who is in power in the country in last 10 years.
Central government under
we have in power.
listen, sir. Listen, sir. Have patience. Have patience. Have patience to listen. Have patience to listen.
By a temperature. How do you expect them to solve it?
See,
sir, children
under
are dying.
Modi ji
You expect me to have patience? Children are dying.
Just
70 lakh people are dying because of pollution in India.
225 crores of vaccination dose
10 years we used to
is given
we used to wait for
to the citizen of Delhi by Modi government. But you did nothing. Can you name even a single point you have done to reduce the pollution during the last 11 years? Not in a single term.
Do for pollution
You have made fraud in the smog tower. You have made fraud in the source spectrum study. You have made fraud in the odd even analysis. And I'm telling you that since February to August, we had a good weather. And now we have, it is not a one-day job. We have always mentioned that it will take 3 to 4 years to clean the Delhi air. We are working around we have a network of 28,508 kilometer road. What we got in legacy? All potholes, all bad roads. Now we are repairing these. How much the garbage you left to Delhi? More than 150 lakh tons that we are removing. We are doing the mechanical sweeping. We are cleaning the roads, and also for the biomass burning. We are giving free electric heaters to all the chowkidars RWS. Can you name even a single pollutant? And you want, we will clean your mess. That is sure, but it will take time. You appreciate us that you got a good air from February to August. And this is today we have no speed, as the environmental mentioning. So discussion is not there. So we have to be here. But if you compare, every year, last year we got the red letter of the day. You will never come out on that. Every year you got, it is a bad word in the history of the environment. But this year, we are still managing less than 50 points. We don't say that we have a good air, but still the air is severe and we are trying to manage that.
Okay. The government is trying to manage it. Bhavin Kandari, has work on the ground has already begun to fix some of the errors of the past? Bhavin Kandari.
Sorry, I just lost your voice. So sorry. Could you repeat that?
Okay, so we have Dr. Anil Gupta who's telling us that work has indeed begun on the ground, be it for bio-waste, be it for the safe disposal of garbage, everything. Work has already begun to correct some of the errors of the past. So even now, we can start fixing it, and the fixing seems to have begun.
Well, I do agree with Dr. Gupta that this is not going to be overnight. If you're doing with the true intent, it will take a few years for the systemic changes and also for covering up and correcting all that has been done in the last few years, not only with the state government, with the central government of now, like something that I was mentioning in the morning also, with all these huge projects like the 7 GPRA. That's even right now it's continuing, and both the governments are equally responsible, and they've enjoyed breaking down and making these huge projects, unnecessary projects in a city that is already choking. So those kind of decisions have to change now. Further damage should not be done. I'm talking about flyovers. The first project was the East Kidwai Nagar, and if you see out, that the flyovers were already jammed, and now they are even worse. So you cannot afford to bring more people. The central government offices should be moved out. Those are the kind of, they are major decisions. But if they are taken, the present government will become like one of the precedents, in the world, in the global world, to show that how these strong decisions will actually, correct the various problems we are talking about. But if you're just going to pretend and, do all the sprinkling and, smog guns and talk of smog towers, we wasted enough time, from last 10 years to now only. And when the false narratives are made, like even the previous party, when they spoke about the stubble burning being the biggest source of pollution, even until today that false narrative is being carried on. So I think leaders have to be very, very careful of what they are saying, what they are doing. Even, like I said, there's everything, whether it's traffic, waste. Please, biomethanation is fine, but when you are giving all these decisions on waste to energy plants, they're absolutely false. You are adding emissions.
Right.
You are adding more emissions, PM 2.5 to a and worse durans, furans, whatever to the city that is already choking. So all these decisions, any false decision like this is going to really harm, and nothing will change.
Right.
So I think that is extremely important, that everything is done in with a true intent.
Absolutely, Dr. Gufran Beg, to identify the major source of pollutant and ensuring that that is communicated through to everybody is step number one in it. Because if you don't identify what is the major problem, what is the main problem, you won't end up finding enough ways to solve it.
Exactly. This is what what I suggest that government did start, but they have to accelerate even further. And to one thing link which is missing is that scientific feedback should be stronger with the policy makers, and the priority should be set based on the source strength. So two things need to change. Firstly, for example, PM10, in fact, NCAP 1 was concentrating, I think, in NCAP 2, PM 2.5 is going to come. That is a welcome sign, number one. And then after that, priority will change according to the strength of the sources. For example, dust is going to go, I think, dust mitigation, we have a maximum effort these days because PM10 is the major pollutants in NCAP 1, which is little misplaced priorities. So, so the point is that more harmonization between a scientific fraternity and the policymakers, and attacking the source which is the most harmful to us, in the sense which is contributing to the maximum. So that, even if there is a little bit of a impact is there, it will be realized. And second important thing is that in addition to Delhi NCT region, we need to cover full airshed region. And for that, I think the governments of Delhi as well as surrounding governments, without considering any political or any other kind of a consideration, should meet and joint work. There should be kind of a body or kind of a consortium which is free from any kind of a, compete. They work purely for the purpose of science together. Then I think this is how things are going to be. But then I fully agree that it has to take time. It will take time, but it doesn't mean that we go slow at this stage of time. I think we should be taking it as a war footing level, all the efforts which is going to